Hey everyone, happy 4th of July. I'll be honest, I think if I had gotten my gel nails redone since I got home, like in the last week or so, I would have maybe done USA colors. It would have been so much fun. But that's okay. Pink and blue are fun. Um, 4th of July, right? What's it about? And I think for a lot of us, we get caught up in the whirlwind of planning for family to come over because it's about the fact that we are able to get together with our family in our own country and that we have a lot of freedom that we sometimes take for granted or forget we have, including the freedom of travel, the freedom to move about without a government dictating to us how far we can travel, how much resources we can consume to do so. There's a new thing that happened here in Washington State where the excuse that's given by the Democratic Party, which dominates Washington State, everything coming out of Washington is from the Democratic Party. We're facing a crisis in the state because we're so lopsided. We've lost exactly what the founders, what George Washington and the founders of the Constitution fought for and risked their lives for. And that is the ability to come to compromise by having two strong partners in the room who realize that the only way they can move forward is if they give and take and they work together. And that's compromise. When you have a situation like we have in Washington State, where one political party, which has a particular set of goals and agendas, is outweighing the other political party, and they even changed the rules this last February, I think it was. They changed the rules in order to give themselves a supermajority. They are legitimately dominating the state, and not because they were voted into a supermajority. They were not, but they had enough votes to change rules that had existed for like 135 years to give themselves the supermajority that they had hoped for in November. So we're in a really rough place here in Washington State. And if you have friends and family here who are talking about leaving, these are some of the reasons why. And one of the things they did is they gave themselves this excuse that, oh, people who bought electric cars aren't paying gas taxes. Gas taxes help to pay for the maintenance of the roads. So they said, oh gosh, these people are driving on the roads, but they're not paying gas taxes. So we have to fix this. And so then they said, well, we know how to do it. And this was their foot in the door. That was their excuse for a really horrible idea. And this is a horrible idea. So it should just be stopped because it's a horrible idea. But because the legislature and the governor's office has been democratically controlled, I think, for like 35 years. I mean, we are deep. It's midnight blue here, people. And the state is named Washington. Anyways, they said, well, we're going to go ahead and start tracking where all those electric vehicles go in the state of Washington. And then we're going to create a new tax based upon the mileage driven by these people who have e-vehicles. Okay, you think, oh, well, maybe that's not so bad, except then they went, oh gosh, the only way to do this program is to actually track where all vehicles in the state go, even the ones that use gas. And then we're gonna like charge them all this extra mileage tax. Basically, we're being taxed in the state of Washington based upon how many miles we drive. People, when it happens here, California copies us. When California does something terrible, we copy them. The West Coast is collapsing and moving towards China. We're like migrating across the Pacific. And I think the rest of you need to pay attention, because where we go with our giant economies, so other states will follow. So they said, oh, we're going to track everyone They were going to like charge everyone, and then, oh, we'll go ahead and give all those gas guzzling car owners like a rebate, or we'll give them their money back. Or so they're going to like, they're trying to create an excuse to track every vehicle in the state. And by the way, if you don't know this, California went first. They passed a law about 3 years ago, where after 2032, no one in the state of California will be allowed to purchase a non-electric vehicle, and you can't go across the border to another state, buy a gas vehicle, a combustion engine vehicle across the state, and then bring it back and register it. Right after they did that, our governor, Jay Inslee, evil person, COVID czar, who dominated our state longer than I think any other governor of any other state, they went ahead, the legislature plus him passed our own version of that, which is that by 2030, guys, in 4.5 years, nothing but electric vehicles can be purchased in the state. And if you go out of state, you can't come back with a combustion vehicle and register it in the state. I'm sorry. It's the United States of America. There are a lot of vehicles out there. There are Ferraris. Oh, and I bet they'll create some special exception for the super wealthy elite that want to buy their sports cars. Oh, a sports car that costs more than $100,000. Oh, it'll be given like an excuse, right? You know, it'll not have to follow these rules, or they can pay their way out. You know, just pay a fee and you can go ahead and have your combustion engine vehicle, while the rest of us who can't afford to buy a $40,000 or $50,000 electric vehicle, and the rest of us who are intelligent enough to know we don't want to be replacing batteries every so many years, right? Which is horrible for the environment, horrible for slavery in the Congo. I mean, like I don't want an electric vehicle. Thank God your existing combustion engine vehicle will be grandparented in so far at this point. But still, if they're going to track miles, how are they going to do that? Electric vehicles are easy. They're tapped into the internet, right? Oh, wow, wait a minute. So you see this? You start to force everyone into a car that you can track. And of course, then we're going to have carbon taxes. And then we're going to have either carbon taxes, which will allow wealthy people to pay a fee in order to drive a ton, while the rest of us are going to be like, oh, Grandma, I can't come for the 4th of July. It's, it's like 53 miles to get there up to the lake. I just can't do it. And I used to come every Monday and every Friday to visit. Well, I can't do that either. You're going to have to ask a neighbor to come and check on you, because I don't have that many miles that I'm still allowed to drive this year. People, it doesn't give us any benefits. It solves no problems. And it's totalitarianism 101. So that's my thought for the 4th of July. If you live in a state that is still part of the United States of America, rather than the, shifting states to China. If you live in the real USA, thank yourself, be grateful, thank your neighbors for how they vote. And if you are fleeing one of these states and you're moving to Texas, you're moving to Florida, you're moving to these, Wyoming, Montana, Idaho, you need to vote different. You need to show up and say, how do we protect this? Because by leaving and taking your intelligent vote with you, you're leaving a greater majority, a greater percentage of the people who were in the state you fled now are the ones who are blindly following the narrative. And for me, still here, it's going to be that much harder to try to turn things around in the state of Washington, which I'll talk about in my divorce settlement Substack. So it's 4th of July. It's a beautiful day. Don't worry, I'm not in a bad mood. I'm having a great day. Just want to say to all you out there who are in the real United States of America, I'm happy for you, and I hope we can rejoin the Union. All right, bye.